Ladies and gentlemen, dogs from everywhere. As you guys can see, which you can't, we're in the pitch black. There we are. We're back.
Oh no.
I said dogs of everywhere, so we gotta give a shout out to the boys. What's up? Hello, big dude.
Hello,
I know
everybody.
he's having. Oh, did you put stuff in his ears?
No.
Oh, okay. We gotta do that. All right. What's up, everyone, and welcome back to the channel that takes you through the fog here in Studio Fright Club for a Tuesday evening live stream. We got some fun stuff to discuss. You got something to discuss too? Yeah? You're supposed to be the closer. All right, go lay downs. Go lay downs. Go lay downs. Nick,
Right there,
did
he
you guys
just
see Nico just
sinks.
slowly sinking? Anyways,
Baby.
how are you guys doing? What is up? We got a lot to talk about tonight. This is gonna be a fun live stream. I don't know how long we're gonna go. I think it is all depending on Steph's tailbone. You guys may not know. Obviously, Steph's pregnant. Okay, right? You guys know. If you guys don't, yeah, she's pregnant. And the seats are not that comfortable. She's getting to the point where the tailbone's starting to hurt a bit.
Yes.
So we'll see how long we go based on that. I hope you guys are doing good. Where's everybody tuning in from today? We have no. Go lay. I'm not asking you. Go lay down. You go lay down on your couch.
It's like, all right, I'm ready.
Yeah.
Show's over.
He's like, well, okay, I'm tuning in from Goodbye City. Go ahead and lay down. I didn't put his pillow over there. That's why. Anyways, where are you guys tuning in from? How you
Yeah,
guys
in
doing?
Alaska.
We got a couple Alaskas here and there. Let's see what we got. So we got Chicago, Winter Haven, Indiana, Louisiana, Winter Garden, Miami, LA, North Carolina, Orlando. What is up, everybody? Welcome in. Well, as you guys know, last week, Wednesday, right? What I'll just say is this is kind of the agenda for today, right? We got a house announcement to talk about. We got potential house announcements to discuss. And then we also have a continuation of the conversation we had from last week. And that's going to be tonight's live. So I don't know how long we're going to be in tonight. Might at least be an hour or so. But again, like I said, depends on the tailbone. Which, by the way, we had an appointment today. Everything's looking great. Mama Bear over here is doing good. Baby's looking great. So we're excited and very blessed for that. So awesome news. I almost slipped with the gender. I almost said the name.
Oh, no.
Oh, okay. All right.
Don't do
All right.
that.
Never mind. You guys don't know yet. We know, but you don't know. Yeah, we didn't say it.
No, we didn't.
Okay.
We're gonna-
Anybody in the chat, if you guys know, don't say it. Like, please. Don't
Yeah,
spoil
we're
it.
going to do like hopefully we're going to do like a little video or something
Yeah, we'll
to
do
announce
something.
it.
I've had some crazy ideas that Steph had to laugh off, but
Yes.
we'll see. So anyways, tonight's live. I hope you guys are settled. Hope you guys are kicking back. If you got a drink, have a drink, right? Have some food. We're going to get into a conversation tonight. What I'm really hoping for, and this is something towards you guys. I'd love to see as much engagement as possible in tonight's live, specifically about the part where we will pick up last week's conversation. Because I'm looking for answers, right? I'm like lost in the desert. I'm just trying to find the oasis right now. That was my best sincere impression. That I
Oh
could give
my
you.
goodness. If anybody's watching Love Island.
Love Island fans out there,
Oh,
show
gosh.
sucks, but I watch it every day with stuff. So anyways, I'd love to have some engagement with you guys because there's a lot of questions, a lot of things that I'm trying to figure out personally. We've discussed about it for years and years. We've talked about this, and it seems like recently a lot of people are also really engaging in this topic. And I just really want to get into it and see what you guys think and see if there is a problem, if there isn't a problem. If there is a problem, does there need to be a fix to it? If there is a fix, or if we're too far, maybe, there's all kinds of things. It's a tricky conversation to have. And I hope that, through the conversation, everyone's respectful and, we just, what we want. And what I said in Discord recently, if you guys are in our Discord channel, what I said in Discord was, I simply just want the best for everyone. I want all the fans to enjoy it as much as possible. That's what we look for. That's what we always strive for better. I've seen them do better. I've seen it personally. I know they can do better. So when I see certain things that just doesn't hit this expectation for me, It does bum me out a little bit. So we'll talk about that later on in the live. But first of all, we need to discuss yesterday's announcement that happened 10:35 p.m. Eastern time. We had HR Bloodengutz announced for Halloween Horror Nights 35. HR Bloodengutz presents a Halloween Fright-Tacular. Did I get the name right?
These house names are starting to be like
oh my gosh,
the ride names.
I know it's all over the place.
Hagrid's Magical Creatures Motorbike Adventure.
Wow, you should work for Discovery Universal. Anyways, yeah, no, it's okay. I have mixed feelings, right? First of all, how are you guys feeling with HR Bloodengutz coming back to Halloween Horror Nights, especially for HHN 35? Everybody in the chat, Stephanie, what do you think? No, just let them type it up. Let them work. Today you're gonna work more.
I'm really excited. I love if you guys watch this channel, if you're not new here, you know that I love a good like anthology style house. And what I mean by that is that like every room is a little bit different. Like Slaughter Cinema. Can't think of any other ones right now. I will say I have really bad baby brain, so if I like can't get my words, I apologize. But
Case Files,
yeah, like houses like that where every room is like you get something completely different. And it seems like that's what we're getting because we're gonna have, you know, several different movies or shows, I guess, of what he was trying to make previously. So I'm really excited to see, you know, what they do with that. And I love when they bring back like old beloved characters. So I think that'll be a big fan favorite. Of course, we weren't surprised by the announcement because, well, we were surprised by it being on yesterday, but we weren't necessarily surprised about the house because it's been speculated.
Save that for later conversation. I'm seeing a lot of people in the chat talking about how they are excited, mainly not only just excited, but two main factors that I'm seeing in the chat right now is one, it's HR Bloodengutz. We're excited to see him, especially people who did not get the chance to experience his house back at Halloween Horror Nights 21. So that was 2011. We did not get to experience it. So that's one of the main reasons we're excited. He was in 2021 at HHN. He was in the Welcome to Scary Horror in the Heartland house. There was a little segment you briefly saw him in.
Which was probably one of my favorite sections of that house.
Yeah, we really liked that. That was fun.
So I'm excited. I love the like, you know, I don't know if they're going to go retro with this, but I love the kind of like retro style.
Yeah.
I love like how it's, I don't know. I like the idea of it. So I'm very excited for this one.
And kind of tackling what you're mentioning here in the chat as well. The second thing I was going to mention, people were excited that it has that classic Halloween vibe to it too. I saw somebody mention in the chat, I can't remember who wrote it in the chat, but
yes, sorry. I was just going to say, I like that it's not like all holidays. It's like just Halloween.
Yeah, no, I agree. But what I was going to say though, with them is that somebody in the chat wrote that they believe that, you know, having something classic Halloween at HHN is always good and something needed too. And I agree with that. I think always having some kind of touch of classic Halloween, you know, a touch to the holiday itself does help Halloween Horror Nights in a way. You know, yeah. I mean, just like a little bit. Sometimes it's nice to see as long as it fits. But it's like HHN 31 where the whole theme was that. And it was fun. I liked it. But I'm excited for this personally. I like the lore behind. You're not supposed to call him Larry, but his name's Larry, by the way. So his real name's Larry, but he goes by HR Bloodengutz. That was his character's name on the show, and then he kind of became a little obsessive and just wanted to be called that. But yeah, if you guys haven't done so already, take a look back. You can go on HHN Wiki and find information on this. There's also YouTube videos on YouTube, believe it or not. And they have some old walkthroughs of the house back in 2011 and some like information and lore that you can find for HR Bloodengutz. And it's an interesting and fun watch. It's really cool because I recently today I was looking back at some walkthrough videos and stuff, and it's just like the atmosphere is like I don't know. Maybe it's because it's like the crappy camera quality that gives it that feel too.
Probably.
But one thing that I loved was in the queue line, they had a video that played in the queue line, and it showed HR Blood and Guts, basically presenting the what was it, the Holidays of Horror, or yeah.
I don't know. Holidays
of Horror. I want to say Holidays in Horror, but it's HR Blood and Guts presents Holidays of Horror. And he went, through different holidays. It's kind of like the holidays in, is it called Holidays in Hell?
I think that's what it was.
In California that we experienced over there in Hollywood. It's kind of like that, right? That's how that house was in 2011. So it was kind of cool because the queue line, they featured a video and all that stuff. And I personally love that. I love the old HHN media, like files that they've had. I think it's just a cool original touch. And it seems like from, information that we received yesterday, today, whatever that article came out, Bloody Disgusting posted an article with an interview from Ramon, and it talked about them getting the original character or original actor back to portray HR Blood and Guts for some videos, which is really exciting. I think that's probably the most exciting news out of everything that we've gotten, for myself at least.
Yeah.
So know that we're going to get like a queue line video and all that stuff to really give the atmosphere. We've always talked about like the queue lines need more, it seems like, because people are waiting hours and hours through the night, late at night, walking all the time. And they need more engagement in the queue line.
And like queue line videos aren't just like an ad for Peacock.
Yeah. Like the same, like, 4 that they have rotational Peacock, and then sometimes even for the event, which is cool. But when it's like the 10-second quick one, it's like, all right, I've been in line for 80 minutes, so when they do these longer extended, like 5+ minutes sometimes of just different clips playing, kind of like a Slaughter Cinema type of experience. Or even back in the day, what I really miss is when we used to have the parade buildings, and we used to also have the Shrek building when we had the houses there, and they would have the queue line TVs. They would be playing like old HHN stuff. I used to love that. There were nights we would go and I would just stand in front of the TV and I was like, oh, like you can pass this, go. I just want to watch this. That's kind of cool. That's kind of a touch on that. So I think that's really neat.
Yeah.
Yeah, Holidays in Hell was the one in Hollywood. That's correct.
Mm-hmm. Should I do a poll?
Do you want to read the article? Some information from the article? So Steph's going to pull up the article from Bloody Disgusting, because this conversation too, I'm going to bring up in our We Need to Chat session.
I'm going to have you read it because I'm short of breath.
Oh, I got you. This hippo isn't playing games. Hungry. Now available on digital.
That's an ad.
That looks scary. What is this? This hippo did not come to play games. I know. I'm just looking at the ad. Hey. So this comes from Bloody Disgusting. This is from Ramon. No, go lay down. You're not a hippo. Go lay down. Sorry, guys. Hold on. I think Hondo is upset because we don't have like his pillow and all that. And there's
He's a little
no space
diva.
He is a diva. He's been more recently too.
His pillow and a blanket.
Look at him. He's like in the tightest little ball. Like, oh, I'm so lonely. You'll be all right. You'll be all right. So this comes from Bloody Disgusting. This is what Ramon quoted right here. This is a sequel to an HHN classic and the return of a very beloved character for our fan base. We've played with the idea of creating more story within HR Blood and Guts' lore for a while, and this year the stars aligned, and it finally felt like the right opportunity. It's been 15 years since that first haunted house in 2011. If somebody in the chat could remind me, by the way, the number 15, remind me. Okay? 15 years specifically. So 15 years since that first haunted house in 2011. So we like the idea of 15 years later. Carrie's favorite creature feature host returns for another bout of fun. The new house picks up 15 years later from Holidays of Horror's conclusion, where HR Blood and Guts has been incarcerated in the Carrie Penitentiary. Did I say that right? Penitentiary?
Yeah.
I can never say that right. Now he has finally broken out of prison on Halloween Day. He has returned to the WKMB television studio to present a Halloween marathon of straight-to-TV Halloween films. That were his favorites that he never got to showcase back when he was working 15 years prior. In other words, the HHN horror host is curating his own holiday horror marathon for you, the guest.
So that gives me like original like Slaughter Cinema vibes.
Yeah,
a little bit.
Literally feels like Slaughter Cinema in a way.
Straight to TV movies are probably like cheesy.
Very cheesy.
I love that.
That's definitely a style like we enjoy as a house.
Yeah.
And again, it's like we have talked about this in the past too before, and potentially a live stream we're going to have coming up if we ever get the time to do this, where it's like an idea for our house, or not a house, but the event itself should be like revisiting famous fan favorite haunted houses from the past. And this was one of them. HR Bloodengutz was one of them we wanted to revisit. It's kind of cool that we're getting that. HR Bloodengutz is coming back 15 years later, and it's cool. I personally like the idea that they're kind of continuing the story right where it left off. Like 15 years later, he broke out, he came back and did this. I want to know. I have questions as far as like the time frame goes for the lore, because
like is this actually like
is this
this
2026
is taking place like now?
Yeah, I have a question, and maybe you guys know in the chat if anybody knows, is this currently like taking place right now? Because when he got hired to do the HR Bloodengutz role in WKMB, that was in the 1970s, and then the whole situation happened in 2011. But it's like the footage and everything felt very old. So like, was that in the past? That's the one thing I have questions with the lore. So if somebody can clarify that for me.
We need a timeline.
Yeah, Mr. Disney King says it's now. So yeah, and
how
that's,
old is he?
Well, because that's the thing. He was born in the 30s or the 20s, I think, because his character lore was that, you know, he was on Broadway in the 1930s, 1939. He was 17 years of age in 1939.
17 years of age.
He was. 17 years of age, 1939, went on Broadway. So that puts him around, you know, in the 1920s. And then in the 1970s, that's when he got hired. But lo and behold, Lady Luck was the one that was behind his hiring.
So is he a
He's AI.
I don't know very much about the lore, but is he like a non-human entity?
No, he's very human.
Okay, so he was.
I know that's what I'm saying. The timing is a little confusing to me because I'd put him at his 90s, or no, he'd be 100 years old.
Right. So like, is he immortal?
He's probably just working out.
Yeah,
he's
eating spinach.
He was in the Carey Penitentiary, you know, just
working out,
lifting weights and eating spinach. He watches Popeye a lot.
Yeah, he could be a little supernatural, like Michael Myers, maybe.
Yeah, and that's
like
what,
human, but like not.
Especially because Mr. Disney King said, you know, he's from Cary, Ohio, and we know that place has
breeds some
stuff,
some weirdness.
Like, well, no, I'm not gonna say that.
Don't say that.
I'm not gonna say that. But anyways, yeah, I feel like there's got to be some kind of.
So wait, so if it's 15 years after, is this now in the 80s then?
No, see, that's the question that I have, is because if this is 15 years, it's talking about the 2011 house. So the incident of the 2011 house happened during 2011. That was HHN 21 with Lady Luck, all that stuff. 15 years from that day puts us in 2026 when he's breaking out. He's going back to the station, and we're seeing his little Fright-Tacular he's putting together.
Okay.
But that means he's been hired since the 70s. He's been doing HR Bloodengutz for, 40 years, almost 40 years or whatever, until he got fired. Well, he didn't get fired. They were saying that they're canceling the show, and then he kind of threw a little tantrum and killed him. And
yeah, maybe.
He did. Technically, he did kill his producer.
Like, Ace Territory said maybe like Jack and Oddfellow are using some sort of time travel.
Yeah, I wonder, and that's the thing too. Is I really that's a cool little theory, right? Is this like a time traveling thing? But again, if the 2011 house occurred in present day 2011, this 15 years later puts us in 2026.
Right.
So he's gonna be like 100 years old.
How old was he in the 2011 house?
That puts him at 90 years old. But then again, I think the 2011 house. See, this is what I think.
Fred said this is why the dedicated website should return. Yes, because we need answers.
Save that conversation, Fred. We're gonna have that later on. And what I mean by later on, pretty soon, we're gonna get to it.
If you're gonna have a whole story, like a backstory and lore and all of that, like you gotta really flesh it out and tell us.
Yeah, but see, this is what I'm wondering. I wonder if the events of HR Bloodengutz in 2011 was not 2011, because like we were working. You guys see the little artwork we did today, the little intro thing, which was kind of fun. I miss doing that. Go lay down. I don't know why you're getting up.
I think it's because Nico's over here.
Maybe.
He's
but then
like,
Nico,
what the heck?
yeah, Nico bark.
I get to be over there.
So, I genuinely think that the 2011 house did not take place in 2011.
Right. So if the 2011 house took place in like
the 70s,
then maybe this one's like
the 90s.
85 or 90.
Yeah, I think he was hired like mid to late 70s.
Hmm.
Well, if he was hired 1970, then this would put this 85 at the earliest.
I did say that the graphic that they released for this in the TV does kind of look a little like
90-ish.
90s, early 2000s-ish.
Yeah. So then he could have been hired like, even if he was hired 1970 at the earliest, it doesn't mean that 15 years later, or like he fired or they closed the show down that same year. He could have been doing it a couple years.
Yeah.
So it could have been like 4 years and it gets into the 1980s and then early 2000s it shuts. But that's like that stuff in the lore, like we don't know. It's probably out there and we might just not have that knowledge.
It'd still be almost 90.
Yeah, that's true. I really think it was like 1971 he was brought on. The show ran for like a measly 2 years, and the second year is when the producer cut it. You go 15 years later, that brings you to what, 1987, when he's escaping. So we're in the late 80s is kind of my vibe, or
Amanda
early 90s.
said he's like old. Yes, correct.
Capital old. Yeah, he is. I know, and Mr. Disney King said, but the event wasn't in the 70s with Lady Luck. No, it wasn't. But that's the thing. How many events have we had at HHN where not all the houses are happening in present day, where it's taking place in another time period?
Yeah, Ace Territory made another good comment that the key art has VHS tapes in it, and it's like an old TV, not an old TV, but like a VHS TV. So it could be.
A-Rod said, if it's the 80s, bring back an arcade. Yeah.
Let's just read.
And Michael said, I say 2000. Yeah. I genuinely think we're in the 90s to like 2000. We're somewhere in this range, I believe.
Yeah. It has to be, because he's supernatural.
Not only that though, but like I feel like it would be better if it was just for like a thematic thing anyways.
Oh, for sure.
Like present day, like when we were working on the graphic, like very quick, like an hour before we did live, I was like, hey, I have this idea and we need to hurry to do it. Which I'm so sorry to put you under that stress, but we got it. And one thing we were talking about is like, when is this taking place? Do we want to do something that's a little more modern for the time, or do we want to do something that's more based on when he started out in the 70s? So we just kind of did a blend of it because we don't really know where that timing is.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, other than that, again, it would be nice to have a dedicated website and actual information and lore that comes out with things like this. But I will say that kind of stuff is not as important as the fact that we have HR Bloodengutz coming back to the event. And it's what I believe it's going to be one of the best houses in the event.
Theme Team said the artist for the key art said 89.
Oh, sweet.
Where was that?
Was that in the
Instagram,
Bloody Disgusting thing?
Or?
Hey, Rod said, we need a podcast. Oh, wait. Hang on to that conversation. Just hang on to it. Hondo, what are you doing? Not over there.
Not over here.
Just never, ever, anywhere. But yeah, I am genuinely really excited for this house. This personally, out of the 4 houses that we've had announced, this is like
most
number
exciting.
1 for me.
Oh, same.
Like clears.
By far.
Like putting this next to Jack and Oddfellow, like Jack and Oddfellow doesn't even get close on the list for me.
Yeah.
Compared to HR Bloodengutz.
I'm excited for Jack and Oddfellow, but not nearly as excited.
Yeah, I agree.
For this one.
And mainly speaking, it's because there are so many houses from HHN years past that Steph and I both wish that we could like experience Now, this isn't a house from the past, but it's bringing a beloved character back, which is really cool. So, excuse me. But yeah, I'm excited. Now, you guys are excited? I'm excited. You're excited, right?
Yeah.
We're excited. HR Bloodengutz coming back to the event. Now I want to talk about something. Now, I don't mean this to be negative. I'm not trying to be negative, guys. Again, like I said at the beginning of the live stream, I've seen better. I know they can do better. So that's where my expectations are. Like, if I know we can do better.
Yeah, but Are
you playing devil's advocate with me right now?
No. I personally, when I first saw the announcement, I was like, oh, cool. They did like a little video. Like, it's not a video, but it's like a moving graphic. And what?
I agree with you.
And we have been saying, like, we want something, even if it's just like what
some
they
motion.
did.
Yeah,
even if it's like what they did with Scary Tales. Scary Tales is literally just like a moving background, and then like they had words pop up, and then that was it. I feel like this is like similar to that.
Okay.
I liked it.
Here's the problem, though. If they were doing a haunted house about squeaky chairs and they did something like that, okay. At least it's not just a photo. The problem though is that they're doing HR Bloodengutz, who has original media content around him. They did say, Ramon said, we're getting some for the queue line, which is great, but like, why didn't we, like, how awesome would it have been if it was a post from Horror Nights? It's a TV, static TV, it turns on and it kind of zooms in and it's HR Bloodengutz back. Like, he just broke out of prison, he's back and he's doing his Fright-Tacular. You see that he's aged and everything. Like, that would have been an awesome announcement. Like, to me, it's like,
yeah. But then people would expect that for all the originals. And like,
but we've seen that before. So like, my art, and that's the conversation we're kind of leaning into here, guys. Spec season, announcement season, off season, all this kind of stuff, is we have seen them do those things, right? We've only been going to I've been going to Halloween Horror Nights since 2014. So I have 12 years under my belt. You have 8 years under your belt. And we have seen announcements, originals, IPs that have been some of the best that they've done. And we've seen announcements where they just put a little carousel on Instagram of 5 original haunted houses.
I'm glad it's
and
not that.
Just did that. So we've seen the bottom and we've seen the top. So in my opinion, when you are like the nation, not even the nation, the world's premier Halloween event, their little tag that they have there, the world's premier Halloween event, like, I expect that level every single time. I understand there are complications, money, things moving, expansions, all this kind of stuff, which we're going to get into. I understand that. But when you have a legacy like Halloween Horror Nights, when you have a foundation that has been built over 3 decades of people from all over the world who's putting everything they got into making this event, from a 3-night event back in the early 90s to now 2+ months of 10 houses, 5 scare zone shows, all this stuff, like, you have to keep the foot on the pedal constantly, because they have before. We've seen that. 2018 was the first year they brought 10 haunted houses to HHN, and they gave it their all. 2019, they gave it their all. COVID happened, things changed, but why was HHN 30 still very good? Getting to 31, it was good. 32, okay, we had some changes. 33, major changes. 34 was a great event, but we lost some things as well. And it's like, it seems like ever since 2015, there's been like this platform, and I feel like ever since then there's things that kind of go up and things that kind of go down, versus where everything's kind of there. I could be wrong. I mean, maybe I am wrong. I don't know. What do you guys think? Is my take a little too off?
I think you have very high standards, and I don't think that's a bad thing. But personally, if there are budget restrictions due to inflation, etc.,
Kids Resort,
I would, Epic Universe, things like that. I personally would prefer that it goes into making the houses and the scare zones and the actual event, like, still really good, and not have any visible budget cuts there. if they have to cut away budget for like marketing, that's totally fine with me.
I agree.
But
now, can I ask you this question?
Yeah.
Can you confirm that's what they're doing?
No, I
That's
can't.
why.
But I'm just saying, like,
Yeah.
I think it would be way more upsetting if like we still got these great announcements and then we showed up and they were like,
yeah,
only 8 houses this year. We'd be like, what?
yeah. Which they've done, not with the houses, but with scare zones, with shows. They've done that. Yeah,
I agree with Amanda. We had this conversation Brian and I did the other day, that they are spending a lot on random side quests, which, you know, that's business. They want to expand. They want to, you know, grow and everything. But they are spending a lot of money right now on other things, and I think they're spread a little thin.
Let's dive in. You ready? We're 38 minutes into the live. This might take us into an hour and a half, potentially. I'm just going to say this to all of you guys in the chat. Like, go ahead and keep speaking your minds. If you hear something that I say that you don't like tell me. If you think I'm wrong, tell me. If you agree, tell me. I want to know, right? We're going to get into it. Like, we're going. Okay. I feel like what Universal did is they smelled blood in the water. I think Disney was hurting bad. I think Disney's still hurting really bad. And I think Universal saw opportunity. I think we all saw that Universal has opportunity with this.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think what they did in a lot of companies that have this, we'll just call it opportunity. What they do is sometimes they do a little too much. They what is the technical term? Like their expansion is just, oh my gosh, there's an actual term
They
to
just
this.
scale too fast.
Scale, thank you. Yeah, their scaling is way too fast. You know, and what I've always had the issue with Disney is that they always took from what did so successful for them, what was making them money, what was making fans happy, all this, where their success was. They always took from that to give to the things that were like completely failing.
Struggling, yeah.
And what that did is that might have helped keep this one afloat a little bit, but this one over here started sinking a bit, and this started hurting. And not only in the first year, but once you get to like 3 to 5 years, things become very noticeable. I think Universal right now, they were like, hey, like, you know, they were hungry, and I think that's great. Like, go for it. I'm all for it. Kids Resort, we'll talk about. Epic Universe, we'll talk about. Horror Unleashed, we'll talk about. All that stuff are great ideas. Like, on paper, they're great ideas. Now, you never know, even though something could be a great idea, when you go to execute that idea, it may not be successful. It may do way better than you thought. I always think back to HHN 30 when the creatives were making Wicked Growth and they were doing the design for the Pumpkin Lord and all that. They talked about this at Spooky Empire before. And they were like, you know, we were excited for this. You know, we made it together, and that was kind of it. We did not expect the Pumpkin Lord to become as popular. Same with Wicked Growth. We did not expect him to become as popular. The fans made him popular. And then guess what we got? Pumpkin Lord was basically the icon for Halloween Horror Nights 31. Right? You know, it's always based on the fans. Like, will it be successful or not? And I think they spread themselves too thin on all these projects. Oh, and not to mention, over in the UK, they're also building the parks over there. Chicago, Horror Unleashed. So they have all these very...
lots of new, like, the new ride for Rip Ride Rocket.
Yeah. Oh, and even in the parks, like domestically, Hollywood, as well as here in Orlando, there's a lot of changes going into the park. Lost Continent, which, in my opinion, one of the best lands that we've had for a theme park. It really felt like the old theme park days, in my opinion.
Which is, we want updates to the park. We don't want you to just forget about the parks that are making you the most money, and the ones that we like to go to. But it does seem like a lot of big projects all at once.
Yeah. And again, nothing wrong with it. I love the ambition, you know, but
they all have to be good.
Yes.
They'll have to have the budget and effort put into it that it needs to do well.
Yeah. And I feel so bad for the people who work on these things because I know that they're, you know, stretched very thin. Like I've seen it, and it's like, dang, because the people who work on these things they're some of the best people, you know. The creatives are great. Like the Halloween Horror Nights creatives, again, they're like such a cool bunch to be around. They're so much fun to just like listen to. They're also like really nerdy, and they get along with each other so well, and they know all these things. It's so cool to listen to them. but they're not in the driving seat when it comes to like some of these bigger decisions.
They don't make the budget.
They don't. And it's unfortunate because, you know, we've talked about this day after day since that Wednesday live stream. You know, the other people are doing that. And what kind of sucks though is that they have all of these projects they want to do, and I'm all for it. I've never been against any of these. Like the Kids Resort, I actually really like the idea for Kids Resort. Epic Universe, I like it. Horror Unleashed, I liked it. The problem is that they decided, hey, we have all these big projects. Let's go to our cash cow and let's pull from the budget.
We're assuming.
Which, well, that's what I was told last year. So they take those budgets away from the things that are doing really well to try to help some of the other things and allocate it, which, you know, you have to. But then the problem is, then there's a drop in quality in the thing that does well. And you get these like hardcore fans like myself who, you know, we notice those things. And it's because I've seen better. I'm like, hey, that's where my expectation is. You guys have given me this and you have charged me this to have this. But when this drops and this increases, you know, my alarm's going to go off. I'm like, hey, wait, you know, wait a minute. Like, it's a little different. Are you sure that's worth this? And, you know, the economy is tough right now. The economy is hard. So there's a lot of factors that go into these decision-making processes and whatnot. Kids Resort. I want to talk about Kids Resort real quick. Great idea. I liked it. I thought it was a cool opportunity to open a market in Texas. I don't think Kids Resort was meant to be this big thing. I was never told it was meant to be this big thing, but it was something, you know? And I thought that was really cool, especially that they were really like wanting to focus on something that's just for like kids and families. I was like, that's cool, right? Neat. Mm-hmm. But then the execution, I'm really trying to be nice. Like we
haven't been there, so we can't say from like a personal.
That's true. That is true.
Experience.
However, I've seen video, and I understand you can watch video, and video doesn't give you the full experience.
I can get a good idea.
But there's some shots that you just, I'm like, there's no way that it's, you know, it's any better.
I think the problem with if we want to talk about that, I think this really doesn't have anything to do with HHN. I think the problem with that was they were planning for this to be something that has a much lower capacity than any of their other theme parks. It is going to sell, like the tickets are going to be less expensive. And because people aren't really going to want to pay, you know, $120 per child to go to a kids resort where there's not like big rides and stuff. And it's not going to be like a destination. It's for somewhat local. I think it's more local, people.
Yeah.
And I think because of all those things, you know, doing the math, they're not making as much money on that as the other parks. They didn't allocate that budget, but it does with the standard that Universal has set through their other parks.
Bingo, yeah.
It doesn't really match that.
3 things. 1, I don't want to spend too much time on Kids Resort because I want to get into the Horror Nights more. 2, just like you said, Universal is Universal for a reason, right? There's a standard to me. This is what we talked about with like Horror Nights. Like, I know they could do better because I've seen better. So that they set the bar. You know, the standard is high when it comes to this company. It's not any other company. We're talking about Universal, right? So the expectation is high. The next thing I want to say this is, I got 2 more things. I'll try to keep it short because there's more things we want to get into. The reason why we're bringing up the Kid Resort thing is because this is an allocation of budget that Universal has to cover and all that. What I was hoping was, you know, that this would open a market in Texas, and potentially if it was successful and it did well, they might have more land and other things to do stuff and continue to grow. Because at the end of the day, I want to see Universal succeed in anything that they do. I love the company. I really do. I love Universal. I love Halloween Horror Nights. We talked about this, since 2019, at least once a week. I feel like I bring it up to you. Halloween Horror Nights is different to me in a way where it gave me the life that I have. I met my wife at Halloween Horror Nights, my best friends from Halloween Horror Nights. Everything that you guys see, what we talk about, it's Halloween Horror Nights. So I don't just like go to the event as in, oh, I just like it as a fan, but I feel like I want to give back to it, which is why we do content. Nico's also dreaming. He's running and
He's running
in place. Oh, little cutie.
Cute.
But so special to me, right? That's why I have this big passion, and if I see something I don't like, I want to speak about it. But Kids Resort, right? I was hoping it would do well because I was hoping it could open a market for Universal out there, maybe an untapped market over there. After seeing the videos, I don't think that's gonna be the case. A lot of people in the comments that I saw for videos were saying this is gonna be like a Defunct Land video and all that stuff, and I feel like maybe this could be like Universal's like Star Cruiser.
I will say that if they really allocated such a small budget as what it kind of looks like,
yeah,
they might make a good amount of money off it. Like the return might be decent because I mean, I'm sure there are people that live around there or are traveling there that don't watch influencers and aren't seeing the negative.
Now, I want to say my main comment.
I'm just saying there's hope.
I know. I want to say my main comment about Kids Resort, and then I want to stop talking about Kids Resort.
Yes.
Okay. My main thing is I saw and you guys may think this too in the chat, and that's okay. You guys are entitled to your opinion. I'm entitled to mine. Steph to hers. That's what I feel like makes this place great, because you can say your opinion, I can say my opinion. And what I would love is, instead of people arguing and then turning around being mad, is we find a way to bring yours, bring mine together to combine into a solution that could be best for everyone. That right there is teamwork. Bam, explosion, fire through the wall. The conversation that I saw a lot online was where people said, well, this is just for kids. That really upsetted me a lot, because yes, exactly. It is for kids. Oh my goodness, I almost slipped the gender out for the baby. Oh my goodness. Anyways, my baby, my child, right? Not only that, I have family who have little ones too and stuff. Because it is for kids, shouldn't we go all out? Shouldn't we give them a place that they can go to and completely get lost and immersed in their imagination? That age group that they're targeting, it's such an important and early on stage for their development as far as just interaction and engagement with the world, and really diving into their imagination and being creative and just having fun, spending time with their parents and their family, friends, brothers, sisters, whoever, and enjoying that time. Which is why I feel like we should give them the utmost that we can in experience. That's what Universal's known for. I mean, look at their parks. Look at the movies, right? That's what they're known for. When I see that, I'm like, that to me is not Universal's best when it comes to an experience for kids. It's got to be better, in my opinion. It has to be.
Yeah.
That's all. That's what I'm gonna say about it, and that's kind of
even once we do have our child and maybe more, I think we would rather spend, I mean, we obviously will go to the parks here, but if we were going on a trip, I think we would rather spend the money to take them to Disneyland.
Yeah. Now, moving from Kids Resort, let's get into more Halloween Horror Nights related stuff. And the reason why we're talking about Kids Resort, if you're just joining us, it's because we're talking about the allocation of budget and things like that, and the quality that I feel like we're missing in Horror Nights, especially in the off season. This will all connect when we get more into the spec season stuff. This isn't bothering me. There we go. Horror Unleashed. Horror Unleashed Vegas supposedly is losing a lot of money. Oh, and it's that makes me so sad, because I like Horror Unleashed. I've never been. I like the idea of it. I like the concept of it. And it seems like Horror Unleashed is not really doing too well. And I don't think that's a result of Universal or Horror Unleashed. I think that's a Vegas thing. Vegas is struggling right now, from what I've heard. However, one thing that I feel like is Universal's fault, something I did not like, was that they announced the Chicago Horror Unleashed location. They announced that was a thing before Vegas even opened up. And I thought maybe that was a little too early to make that announcement. But they did. Now, I have heard multiple things from people out in Chicago. I've heard people say, hey, Horror Unleashed in Chicago has been canceled. Sources are trust me, bro. But I've heard people say that out there. I've had people that live nearby the Chicago place who actually can see the construction from outside of their place. They can see it,
just stopped.
and it just stopped. There's actually graffiti all over the walls. They're outside too. So like, there's nothing like really going on. Now that's from the outside. Inside there could be things, I don't know. But then on the other side of things, I've heard people say, no, it's like it's still going on. It's just slow down, you know. But that worries me just, if not more.
I don't understand why they picked Chicago.
Well, here's the thing, though. A lot of people who live in that area are actually very excited for this.
I'm sure. I mean, if they brought it to Toledo, Ohio when I was younger, I would have been so excited for that. But that doesn't mean that it's a good location.
I agree, but Chicago is the Midwest. So I feel like that could work. However, it's difficult because in my opinion, it's like, you know, when you're trying to build a year-round event like Horror Unleashed, I feel like Orlando is an easier location for something like such just because it's the number one like tourist capital in the world, like your number one vacation spot in the world. Vegas is struggling. Chicago, it's up there, but I don't know. I'm so curious to see what the actual numbers are when it comes to Horror Unleashed. But I've heard the one in Vegas right now is struggling, and Chicago supposedly is like, it's like unheard of right now. So what does that really mean? Is Universal losing money on these projects? Are these things that they're going to take loss and hurt? I mean, it's going to be a tax write-off potentially, but like, was this a good idea?
When they first announced it, I said no, but I just feel like there's not enough. I don't think there's enough tourism that is like interested in that in Chicago specifically. Vegas, I think, yeah, there's more people that are looking for experiences like that. I think maybe New York, like people would look for something like that. I just don't think people really travel to Chicago for stuff like that.
Not just Chicago, but like Horror Unleashed in general, like the Vegas location too.
I think.
What do you think?
I think that this is what I was worried about with Vegas was, well, I think it's really cool that they have something year round. You can go to at any time for horror fans, for Horror Nights fans. I don't necessarily think that the average person who isn't like a huge horror fan or an HHN fan is going to be like, oh, that's definitely something I need to do while I'm in Vegas.
Yeah.
You know
also,
what I mean?
just to throw in this too,
especially in like February.
That's true. Mr. Disney King said, struggling. Didn't Horror Unleashed just lay out a timeline of all these things coming and say Mystery IP, aka Resident Evil, to draw people in? Yeah, I mean, they could still be losing money and still going with it again, pulling from what's working, pulling funds to help supply the stuff that's struggling. But they're in a lease with Area 15 for a couple more years, so like they have to ride this out unless they break that and like pay a huge sum, lump sum. But they're in this lease for a while with Area 15, so that's why they have that plan to draw.
I think it would have done a lot better if they were like, we're gonna open a horror pop-up, like an HHN pop-up, but during the months of September, October.
Okay, I want to get into this conversation with that. So, also, who here was supposed to remind me of the number 15? Anybody remind me of 15?
I forgot.
I forgot too. The reason why I brought up 15 is because they were talking about 15, let's bring HR Blood and Guts back, and they're giving him a house. I remember when they said that last time about a character. Do you remember who? Oh, come on, you know. Who came back after 15 years? Who said she would come back after 15 years?
Oh, the Terror Queen.
Yeah, there you go. I knew you would get it. Remember, Steph's dealing with the baby brain too, so that was good. Yeah, they brought the Terror Queen back, and it seems like they didn't really do anything with her, which makes me sad. I'm not saying that HR Blood and Guts is going to have the same fate. I'm just saying, like, Terror Queen should have had a lot more love than what they did with her. So, anyways. Speculation announcement season, the HHN off season. Where do you want to start? Because what I genuinely want to say is like all this conversation that we had kind of leads us into this conversation of the off season. And if you guys remember, if you watched our previous live stream last Wednesday when Stranger Things was announced, we talked about how spec season, I think you said this, you made this comment, where spec seasons became confirmation season or just leak season in general. And it feels like the specialty. Remember, I genuinely don't believe there's another fan base in the entire world that is just like the Halloween Horror Nights fan base. I don't think there's another event out there that has a fan base like HHN where we do things like speculating, where we talk Halloween Horror Nights year round, constantly, of the same freaking event every single time.
In the theme parks?
Theme park. Well, I mean, what else do you have in mind that's not theme parks? You gonna say movies?
Yeah, like Marvel.
Yeah, like Marvel and
Taylor
stuff.
Swift fans.
Oh, what?
They look for Easter eggs and all her stuff. I don't know.
Okay. Anyways.
Not me.
Don't lie to people now. Number one fan over there.
I'm sorry.
I can't even
if you
smile
love
through
Taylor Swift, no shade.
Yeah, it's your style.
I'm just bringing up there are like.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
But they're not number one. They're not.
Yeah.
They're not, in my opinion. I think Halloween Horror Nights has a special fan base as such that does spec season every single year. When like, let's talk about Marvel fans, right? You know, the Marvel, they speculate on that, but it only comes out when a movie, oh, we saw this, speculate, and then that stops.
Yeah.
Every single year, Halloween Horror Nights, Halloween Horror Nights, they have this special recipe that nowhere else has. It's this golden ticket. They have this golden ticket that they are just sitting on. They have this. And the fans, they have the speculation season. They have the HHN season. You know, they have these things and they love it. They go have fun. Oh my gosh, they go have fun. I almost said Fanta. They go have Fanta. You guys remember when we had the Fanta booth?
Yeah.
You know. But you know, we're a product of that. You know. However, I feel like the enjoyment out of it, the specialty, that novelty of spec season, the off season. I want to call it the off season. Because it's not just the spec season, it's also the announcement season. It's when Horror Nights ends until it begins, that part, the off season. I feel like the novelty of that has kind of faded. Now, the first person to point the finger to and blame is the company, Universal, 100%. This is where they have taken the most away from us. Now, Stephanie will play at devil's advocate and say, well, there's budget, which there is, and things to deal with. I would rather that go to the event itself. And I agree. 100% agree. We don't want a watered down event. We want the event to be the best that it can.
Yeah, as somebody who works in marketing, I know that like sometimes that does happen. And like you have to take it from somewhere if things are rough. And like as a consumer, I would rather it be taken away from marketing. Because I know that like that doesn't give anything to the consumer. Of course, like announcement season does give something to us, like in some terms, but I don't know that HHN and Universal necessarily see it that way.
Yeah, I think the wrong people are at the helm when it comes to these decisions. I know money. Oh, the greed of the world loves the dollar bill. I understand, but one thing we've talked about and the way I look at life, money is not everything. Now, I know you need money to do things. Totally understand. I get it takes a lot of money to run a company like Universal. Totally understand. However, I will always bring up this comment. There's only one thing we are guaranteed in life. And that is that we are all going to die one day. Sorry. Guess what? We talk about Horror Nights, people die, right? But we're all going to die one day. And it's sad, but it's the truth. And the way I look at life is like, why don't we just give it our all and do the most we can? Be better. Even when you do your best, like the next day, like be better than that. You know, constantly strive to do the best you can. And I constantly bring this up with Horror Nights because I have seen them do better. And what I'm seeing today, and we're just talking about announcement season or the off season. I'm not even talking about houses, streets. I'm not talking anything at the event. I'm just talking about the off season right now. I have seen better. So because I've seen better, the bar has been raised. And when I see less in, you know, following years, it really makes me take a step back and say, hey, wait a minute. why this? Why the sudden change? You know, especially because this is an anniversary year. To me, this is such a special year. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Oh, you got something, I can tell.
No, I think the landscape of marketing in general has changed so much since COVID that, like, because of social media, that companies in general are putting way more money into influencers and social media, like boosting ads and like posts and things like that than they are traditional like commercials and things like that, which is what we like really like. We don't really care if like a
no, I get that, but guess what you can do on social media? You can post a commercial. You can post a 30-second video. I mean, we're here live right now going well over an hour in a live stream.
I get that.
Right? But I get what you're saying too. I understand.
Have you seen what influencers charge?
No, I know. The atmosphere changes. But pin that conversation too, because that's I got a lot to say, guys. I got a lot to say. You guys in the chat, right? Again, off season, not the actual season. We're not talking about when you're at the event, what you would like. I don't want to hear like, oh, I really want to see, you know, Gremlin's house, you know, a Gremlin's house. Like, I would love to see that too, but that's not the point. Why is the off season not as special as it used to be?
I think, go ahead.
I'd love to hear what you're going to say.
Oh, I was going to say, Mr. Disney King had a comment a little bit ago saying HHN Hollywood is now working on HHN 27 right now, a year and a half before the 2027 event even starts. So leaks will now happen sooner, more often. And again, social media makes leaks more prevalent. People can very like discreetly take pictures of things backstage and, you know, share them with someone over Discord or Reddit, and it's not even tied back to them really. And like leaks are just more prevalent now, and I think that is like a big thing that is.
And we've always been against leaks. I mean, and I remember like 3 years ago we said that, and people still got mad at us. Which
yeah, I think one of the things that is tough though is it's kind of like the whole thing where people are like, oh, if everybody stopped paying taxes, like what are they gonna do? Or like when you're in school, if everybody stands up and leaves class, like what are they gonna do?
Or if you're in preschool and you tell the entire classroom to sing Who Let the Dogs Out, what are you gonna do? Guess what? They all did it, and we got to skip class for an hour and a half.
Anyway, that never
but you get in trouble.
That never works because everybody is thinking in their head, well, I don't want to be the only one that like
the first person who goes through the wall is going to come out bloody.
So what I'm saying
somebody has to go through the wall.
So what I'm saying is when it comes to sharing leaks, like what we said a few years ago was like, we would really love if anybody who gets a leak or hears something from somebody, like just keep it to yourself until it's announced. Like don't share it. Like just keep it to yourself. However,
go ahead.
However, it's one of those things where you have to be like, okay, everybody has to agree not to do it. You know what I mean?
This is a very tricky conversation, guys. Like this is so tricky because I really feel like we're on a slope that could really fall one way or the other. However, I do think it's an important conversation to have because I don't want us to get so far lost in the years coming up where this all right here gets like abandoned and we lose this. I've seen so many people start to bring this conversation up more and more. And look, I'm gonna say this: we're an hour and 6 minutes in the live. Steph, if it starts taking a long time, let me know. My butt hurts now too. But I have 7 things that I want to talk about, and each one could take 3.5 hours. I will not take the 3.5 hours for those 7 things, but I would like to get to them at some point in the live.
Okay.
So what I'm saying is like monitor like my timing. You know, don't let me go too far into it. When that tailbone is hurting, you let me know.
Been hurting since the second I sat down. It's fine.
Been hurting a couple of days now.
No, it's fine.
No, but I mean it has been.
Yes.
So here's the thing. Also, Theme Team said Love Island can wait.
Yeah.
What time is it actually? 9:39. We might live stream it right here in the live. I'm just gonna all watch it. Take an hour and a half intermission real quick. Talk Love Island. Okay. I personally right? And I'm willing to take all the flack for this. I don't care. Go ahead. Say you hate me. I really don't care. I love my wife. I got a kid on the way. I love my dogs. I love the event. Nothing's going to change that. I got Jesus. Here's the thing, though. If you think what I'm saying is wrong, please let me know. If you think there's a better way to go about it, let me know. I like to know. I like to learn. I'm an open mind. I'm trying to be better at that. So tell me. I feel like the off season is in shambles right now. I have told you this. For some reason, there's an alarm going off in my head where I'm hearing the voice, you have to save Halloween Horror Nights. I don't know why, but I hear that. Now, I'm not saying like I'm the one to save Horror Nights. No, because no one person can do it. It's the entire fan base, right? It takes an entire team to make it happen.
I like Kylo Ren running to, I need a hero.
Yeah, well, you could have picked a better character and said Shrek. You know, I'm going to say Fiona in Shrek 2.
Sure.
Go, Gingy!
What first came to mind.
Okay, anyways, all right. Don't get me sidetracked here. I have this alarm going off in my head where it's like Halloween Horror Nights needs to be saved. I don't know why. But like something is going off in my head that gives me this sense of urgency. Like there's a time, there's something ticking. And I don't know, I always feel like something needs to be done. I don't know what it is, but I have that feeling. And I'm constantly looking at the off season as being the thing that we could potentially lose as a fan base. And I don't want that. Now, I don't know if the off season needs saving. It might be the best it's ever been. And I don't know. Maybe I'm desensitized to things of the past. Maybe I'm desensitized to the event itself. And maybe, you know, genuinely, maybe I've had all those experiences I wanted to have that I've dreamt of with HHN. I've checked all those boxes off. I've got to meet the creatives. I got to work with Horror Nights. I got the Scare Act. I met my wife. You know, like I did all these things with Horror Nights. I'm like, what else is there to do? Maybe I feel accomplished. So when I look at it, I'm like, oh, it's not hitting the same. Maybe that's a me thing. But like, I have felt that for a long time. And then when I go on social media or when I get text messages from friends and updates, and I'm seeing the same people say the same thing, I'm like, maybe my intuition is not wrong. Maybe there is something that needs to be discussed, which is what I think it's the offseason and I want to talk about. Is the spec maps the problem? I don't know, because I feel like they are extremely important for something like spec season, for the off season. I feel like they are extremely important. However, they have become so crazy accurate, like they're just very accurate.
Oh, like even the originals. It's like, how do you know that?
The originals, the IPs, and the locations. It's like, we've been questioning this for the years. And again, I don't want to put any shame towards like Horror Night Nightmares or any of the other people who make the spec maps, because like, I love the spec maps. I really do. I thought they were so cool, you know? But I sit there and I question sometimes where I'm like, man, like, where are they getting this stuff? Like, how do you know, like, you know, months in advance, like all the houses?
And I feel like it used to be like they were based off of, and maybe this was like us being naive because we were kind of new to this, but I feel like it used to be that they were based off of like things that we would find out about different properties. You know what I'm talking about? Like, it would be like,
well, so here's the thing. I genuinely think the spec maps are very important. I mean, do you not see what spec maps do? Like, how much engagement it creates for the community. That is so important, especially when you get a company like Horror Nights who backs off the pedal for the off season. Like, that is what the fans look forward to. But I feel like it's became a little cannibalized, you know, where it's like, that is all the community looks forward to now. Horror Nights is not feeding this monster we have.
It's also tough to speculate on, like, because they're so accurate, it's hard to speculate on anything that's not on there, because then everybody's like, well, no, that's not correct.
I know, but that's like that's the monster we kind of created in this community, you know, because Horror Nights has not really given us anything in the off season. You know, we, like, as a community, hunger just to see anything. The spec map has always kind of been that big go-to thing, and now it's become the only reliant information that we have in the off season, where Some people treat it like it's like, oh no, this is the truth. You know, this is the only thing. And like, that's fine. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. But I sit here and it's like, okay, I have to turn my brain from fan of HHN to like content creator. And it's like, there is not got to be, but there is so much. We have written down so many different ideas, but it feels like the community doesn't really care so much about all the things we can do talking about Halloween Horror Nights in the off season, except for spec stuff only. That speculation stuff is like the driven like conversation key when it comes to the community during this time of year now versus just anything in general.
Yeah,
And I've heard, and the reason why I bring that up too is because I've had a lot of content creators reach out to me in the last few days talking about that.
Well, and when we were like really like making a lot of content in like the off season stuff.
Do you guys remember that when we made videos and
when
stuff?
we like made videos and everything? I feel like it's probably the same for other creators as well, which is why this has kind of trended this way. But anytime we did a video on spec maps, it did way better than like anything else.
But it was also like sometimes the most fun I had in conversations.
Well, yeah,
you know?
but what I'm trying to say, the point of that was that if those videos are performing the best, then that's what creators are going to focus on.
Yeah, they tend to.
Because they're like, oh, our fans or subscribers want more of that. So I'm just going to really focus on that. So that's where, you know, the conversation has gone naturally because that's what performs the best.
Yeah. I just like, and again, I feel like I'm the problem too when it comes to this because I have a platform and, you know, Brian, why don't you make content like that? Yeah, you're right. Hey, guess what, folks? I barely even make content nowadays, you know? So again, I don't want anybody to think that I'm like throwing shade to like Horror Night Nightmares or any other, you know, content creator out there and stuff. Like, I appreciate the work they do. It's actually impressive that they're that accurate. But it makes me question sometimes, like,
who are you?
Yeah, like how are you constantly that accurate year after year? And it makes me think, like, are these things are they actually speculative or are they like insider leaks or information and stuff like that? And I'm not saying like that's where they're getting it. It makes me ponder, you know. It's like, because the problem that I have is that I've noticed that novelty when it comes to the off season, when it's like we get an announcement, that excitement that I have where I'm like, oh my, like, holy smokes, did you see HR Bloodengutz got announced? Like, it's not really there. And again, the fault is the company. It's not the creators. It's not the fans. It's the company. You got to go to the leadership with this one. No, lay down. I know. I got excited. I know. Honda's like, yeah, what? No way. Bloodengutz, sweet. No. Go lay down. Go lay down. I got 6 more points to bring up. Get strapped in. It's going to be a long one. So I look at it as, you know, not only a fan, and in anything I do with Halloween Horror Nights and the way I look at it, I always have the mindset of like, oh, I'm a fan of Horror Nights first and foremost, right? But as far as like content, you know, creation goes, it's like people have only really cared about the spec conversations versus just general like HHN conversations. And we've noticed that over the years too, but we've also seen did you hear that? Heartburn.
You know what's crazy? Brian has more heartburn than I do at 16 weeks pregnant.
I'm starting to get
still there. I better knock on wood, but I still have not gotten any.
Yeah, don't jinx yourself. You've been doing really good. Thank God. Everything's been great. Well, I mean, at least from what you've told me. I mean, I don't know what demons you're fighting over there.
Nah, we're good.
But it's like I look at this off season, and again, that alarm is going off, and I'm seeing this shift in lack of quality and other things, and it's like it's really bothering me, guys. Like, it's really pissing me off because like I love Halloween Horror Nights, and we've had this discussion, you and I, stuff about, you know, Halloween Horror Nights, the event, like during the event, could be so good. The spec season doesn't even matter. The off season doesn't even matter. The event's that good, it's that good, which is great. But I do believe that the off season, like, does fuel that excitement and that energy to get people into the event. You know, I remember when we were creating content and like leading up to Horror Nights, my favorite thing that we did was our HHN Eve live stream, where we're just like full of excitement and you know, just joy and it's great. When we got an announcement, we were so excited for that. And it's like, I'm not feeling that right now. And again, I do think Horror Nights is to blame, and we're going to get into the solution to that. But like, that's really bothering me, like deeply. And again, it could just be me personally. Maybe everybody's like, no, like everything's great, Brian. Like you're just Brian. So
You're just Brian.
You're that Brian Robinson, you know? But yeah, so here's the thing. What do you guys think? Do you guys genuinely think like that alarm that I have in my head, is that like an actual thing that you guys think is real, or do you?
Can I do like a poll or something?
No,
so people don't have to like put their opinion out there. If
Okay.
they don't
You
want
can
to.
put a poll. You can put a poll if you want. But if you have an opinion, I'd love to see it. You know. And then while Steph's setting that up and you guys are typing that in the chat, I want to discuss solutions. I'd love to see solutions. If you guys have solutions, what you guys think could, maybe better it. Maybe you guys are like, hey, Brian and Steph, maybe you guys should do this. Or maybe the community should do that, or the company should do this. Like, if you guys have those thoughts, please type them in. I'd love to know. But here's the thing. I have some ideas, just like everybody else. I personally would like to take the time to talk about those ideas. Solutions that I think would help fix the off season. Now, we're an hour and 18 minutes into the live. How are you feeling, hon?
I'm fine.
Doing all right? If you need me to, cut this short and all that stuff, please let me know. Again, guys, Steph, when she says we're done, we're done. All right? Her and the baby, when they say we're done, we're done. Now, here's some solutions, right? I know I see some people typing. I'm going to real quick swiping away from Spec Anything because I want everything else to be a surprise. That's how we've been. Theme team, that's how we've been. Now I can't see. I don't know why.
Sorry.
No, you're good. Like every time when you type the poll in, it blocks the chat on my side.
Yeah.
But,
we need tighter NDAs. What's going on?
Yo, okay. No, I'm not going to say anything. I can't.
No, I do think that like social media has made it hard because they you can leak things without the company finding out. Like much easier.
Yeah. Okay. Let's talk solutions. I can't read the comment. Can you even see all the comments, or does the poll block yours too?
No, I can see them.
Yeah, but does it block the most recent one?
No, that's the most recent.
Really? Oh yeah, I can't see that. Dang. Hold up. See, like Shannabelle said, HHN needs to start announcements earlier, in my opinion. Yes. No. Go lay down. I don't want to hear your opinion. We can't give doggy treats all the time. Go lay down. He's so funny. Hondo is like, I think Hondo's human, to be honest. Reincarnated. Okay. Can I have my solutions floor?
Sure.
Okay. If you think I need to stop, please let me know. Also, keep an eye on the chat because I know I'm going to get far into it. Here's my solutions for the off season. It's not the spec maps. It's not the community. We go to the top. We go to the company. I personally feel like there needs to be a cleansing in certain areas, certain departments, certain things. There needs to be a cleansing. We'll just leave that, right? However, if I had the ability, my dream, you know how some people say like their dream job is to be like an HHN creative, right? My dream job is to be like the leader of the off season for Halloween Horror Nights. That's my dream job. I'd love to help run, facilitate, and operate the off season for Halloween Horror Nights, because again, I feel like the creatives and the entire team that puts the event on, it's like they're up here, they're like freaking awesome up here. And I feel like the off season, the job of the off season is to just lift them up, and they keep them up there and highlight that, put them out in the spotlight and show everybody, look how awesome this is. Look at what these people are doing. That's the job of the off season, in my opinion. And I feel like the off season hasn't really been doing that. So my solution to it would be this. If you guys remember when we first started doing YouTube back during HHN 30, we had a season that we barely even gotten to do. And we were going to do back in 2024. until Universal got involved, which I briefly mentioned in another live stream, and we'll probably do a live stream in the future. Might do a tell-all kind of thing. We'll see. However, we introduced something that we called Countdown to HHN, right? And it was for the whole month of August, where we do different videos, lives, just fun things to get you guys hyped and excited for Halloween Horror Nights. This Countdown to HHN was the whole month of August. I have proof here. I have living proof. Stephanie right here. And Steph does not lie. She'll tell you the truth. I remember talking to Stephanie about this idea. We were actually taking a trip to Tennessee. You remember my family, we were actually taking a trip to Tennessee, and I was telling you about this whole idea that I had from 2018. It was called Countdown to HHN, and we were going to do the YouTube channel and try something like that on our own, just to try it out. And, fast forward years later, Discover Universal becomes a thing and all that. And I remember looking at stuff saying, hey, oh my gosh, Universal is on the path to potentially do that. They just got to see it and stay to it, So it was for the whole month of August that we were talking about for our channel. If you guys remember, on Instagram, I also did a Countdown to HHN thing where it kind of went along with the spec season. Properties that were being speculated for the event, we would do little videos to tie into one little story that would lead up to HHN. Steph was the main actor in it, or actress in it. You did awesome.
Thanks.
She hated doing that, by the way, but she did great. And again, just little baby Steph and Brian trying to make content for the fans, right? The next year, we ended up doing something that even took us all the way to California. We were filming this whole thing and stuff that I never got to finish it, which is unfortunate. Timing and all this kind of stuff got involved. But we wanted to just create content that is Halloween Horror Nights centric for all of you guys all year round, have stories, all this stuff. To me, that's what the off season is. Content creators and all that stuff. Like, I felt like, oh, it's our job to try to make content for HHN fans year round. And conversation spec season, or spec maps, conversation of construction, announcements. No. Go lay down. Nobody called you. You know what? Okay, try lay down over there. Right there. There you go. Stay. Sit. No, that wasn't a sit. Buddy, you don't fit over here. I don't know how to say it. The lap bar is not coming down on you.
Hondo, lay down.
You know what? I'll just let him. What we're really worried about, his tail. His tail is like a 60-pound whip. That thing is dangerous. No. He's just so funny.
Okay, go ahead.
He thinks that if he gets screen time, he gets paid more. He doesn't. You get the same treat after every live. Okay. So anyways, the big thing, and we've pitched this to the company before too. I was actually in the room talking about him and stuff, and we were told this is a great idea. We love this. We think this is perfect. And I'm still sitting here today. So go. Watch out. Let me put my foot down. Go lay down. You're doing good, bud. We're almost done. I know. How awesome would it be if we had Universal announce that they're doing something called Countdown to HHN for Halloween Horror Nights? And it's year-round content that is focused on Halloween Horror Nights all the time, every time. And I had a roadmap that literally went from January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, up to HHN starting, right? Whenever it is, which it seems like it's getting earlier and earlier. But it leads all the way up to HHN starting. It happens during HHN itself, and then it follows HHN into the month of November to recap and close out the year, and then you take the month of December off. The whole team takes the month of December off, which is usually like we're working on like agendas and scheduling content, all that kind of stuff.
I just wanted to interject to say McBain had a good comment saying, I don't find spec maps interesting, but in the off season, wish they would publish videos of the previous year's houses being constructed, casketing costumes, masks being made, etc. I would watch those.
So Countdown to HHN might have been something you really loved, because the idea and the concept of, oh my gosh, I almost said Halloween Horror Nights, of Countdown to HHN was, in my opinion, I feel like Universal outsources a lot of things. They did the MegaCon announcement, which I thought is great. Like the MegaCon panel and stuff. I think that's great stuff. I like that. But I look at it and I go, you know what? Universal could do this themselves. 100%. Now, of course, I know the accounting department's like, whoa, hold up. We got to get the calculator, the budget out and all this stuff. I get it. My ideas are over the top. I get they cost a lot of money. I totally understand. I get it. But you could make things work. Again, the company has done a lot more with a lot less. So, hey, buddy, you okay? So again, the focus of it was we would have a dedicated studio at Universal. It was going to be in a soundstage. We'd have a full setup, an actual stage platform, everything that is themed for Halloween Horror Nights, and we would bring props in from HHN years past. You know, one of the props that we had was HR Bloodengutz' chair that he has. That was going to be one of the things that we would actually have physically in studio. Another thing that I really liked too was, and is something in pitch, was a coffin. And the coffin that we have, that's, you know, you could see it in the studio. Imagine like you're watching a late night talk show. This was kind of the concept for it. It was a late night talk show that was talking about Halloween Horror Nights. And off to the side, there was a coffin, right? And this coffin is where our guests come onto stage. The main thing that, you know, Countdown the HHN focuses on is getting fans excited and hyped for Halloween Horror Nights every single year. We do live interviews with the creatives. We bring them on set. Or anybody who's worked on the event, we bring them to interview them, ask questions and stuff. And it could get to the point where even if we have IPs getting involved or getting in the mix, like let's say Stranger Things, the most recent IP, right? Maybe we get to bring an actor that was on Stranger Things season 5 into the studio to talk about the season and talk about it coming to Halloween Horror Nights as a house. Maybe have one of the directors that come onto set. I know this is big ideas. I get it. This is blue sky concept. And then have one of our creatives like there to discuss that. What was the process of negotiating and coming up with what scenes should be done? You know, the fans want to know the ins and outs, the nitty gritty details from, you know, past years and all this stuff. Like, we are interested in that stuff, you know, not just like, oh, what house is going to come this year? That's great and everything. But like, we want to know more, you know, the fans, like, they hunger for more knowledge. I mean, I can sit here and ask you guys in the chat, how many of you guys dream of working for Halloween Horror Nights in the future? I'm sure you're going to get a couple of people to write in the chat, right? So we had this concept for it, and then like the coffin, right? There's going to be this whole thing where we have a camera zoom in on it. The coffin, and here's the thing. I always say Charles Gray is like my target creative person when it comes to this, because I just picture him when I think of this. The coffin door opens up, right? And Charles Gray comes out. He gets announced, and it will become a running thing in the show for each person who gets to go through the coffin gets to do their entrance. And they could, like, I don't know, act dead if they want, come out, do a scary thing. They can come out and just wave. They come over, they sit down at the discussion table, and we just chat whatever the discussion is going to be. And then when we send them back, they, you know, are going and leaving the set. When we finish the interview, we put them back in the coffin. We go ahead and drive the stake in the coffin, killing them, right? Sending them off stage. And they could do a whole scene to exit and stuff. Just fun things like that. We can also be so cool too if they go ahead and on the show, we have actual characters, original concepts. Maybe some of the characters can come out onto the on the show. Like, how awesome would it be if we had HR Bloodengutz that was featured on the show for his announcement stuff, to talk about that, to see that, to sit in his original chair. Little things like that. I'm not going to get too much detail about that, but we were doing that from January leading up all the way to Halloween Horror Nights. And, you know, we have 10 haunted houses. That is 10 weeks of announcements. I felt like it would have been so cool, especially the originals. The originals could be announced so much earlier than the IPs just because of contract stuff and approvals, legality, and everything. So they could do like the originals earlier on. What I felt like would have been so cool is Monday, and this is like getting into like the week and how the week would look out, the structure. Monday, we get a tease from Halloween Horror Nights saying there is something that's going to be announced tomorrow, Tuesday, whatever, posted. Look forward to it, right? Some kind of tease. Tuesday, we get the announcement, and we get a little bit of brief description that goes with it. If we had the website, it would have been really nice that the website also goes along with this and gives you a little bit of details that you can find on it. Easy, simple, right? Then on Wednesday or Thursday, what I think is Thursday would be the best day, because you have the tease on Monday, get the community stirred. oh my gosh, tomorrow, Tuesday, we're going to have something. Tuesday comes around. Sweet. Holy smokes. We have HR Blood and Guts coming to HHN, right? So Tuesday, you get the announcement. What happens on Tuesday? All the content creators start making content. The fans start talking about HHN. And you have Tuesday and Wednesday that's talking about HR Blood and Guts. Then you get to Thursday, and everybody's already kind of talked about HR Blood and Guts. But what happens is now you air the next episode of Countdown to HHN at Universal, right? You air this episode where it's like, we're going to give you even more details, maybe some sneak peeks, things like that. We're going to talk to Ramon Parado. He's going to come on set and talk about the house, what inspired him, things of that nature. And you guys are going to see that on Thursday. And then guess what's happening Thursday? And the episodes would air later in the night, was my opinion. Anyways, it's like a Thursday night, late night talk show, right? But anyways, Thursday, content creators and fans are talking about, again, hey, we're still keeping the conversation live and engaging for HR Blood and Guts, for that one house that we announced on Tuesday. Friday, that conversation goes. The weekend, we take off. The next week comes up. Guess what's happening Monday? We're getting to the next house announcement. Look forward to it next Tuesday. We're going to have a lot of conversation in store for you guys. A lot of fun. Stay tuned. Tuesday, boom, house announcement. Content creators start making content. Fans start talking about this house now. That carries into Wednesday. Thursday, as that gets lower, the next episode airs.
We'll say, I think the production team would have an aneurysm.
Yeah,
collective aneurysm.
I mean, they would. No, go lay down. Lay down. This is like the 10th time. Go lay down. Go lay down. I know it's a lot of work, and I get it. It takes us 34 years just to decide to do one live stream here with a small little camera in the corner of our house. I get it's not easy, but it's one of those things that I have faith in the company and the people who work there to do something like this, that I believe that it can be done. I'm not like going to like, I don't know, like Chuck E. Cheese and telling them to give me Universal type a level.
I know.
You know,
it's
a lot. I know. I agree. It's a lot.
Think,
but this is an idea. This is blue sky concept.
No, I know. And I'm not saying that it's like too much. I'm just saying that they're already selling out several nights of the event.
I know.
So it's like,
but it goes, I understand. HHN doesn't even have to announce a freaking house. People are still going to buy tickets. Mm-hmm. I get it. But again, we're all going to die one day. We are. And I look at life as this beautiful thing that we should just enjoy to the fullest. And if we could do the best that we can, why not? Why not? Leave your mark on the world.
I agree.
Make it better than the way you came into it. Like, leave it better. And I feel like I would love if Universal said, you know what? I know after COVID, all these big companies started kind of lacking. We're going to be the company that takes that step up. We're going to be that John Hammond, the spirit of the inexpensive. We're going to go all out. We're going to do this. Why? Because we're Universal. That's why. Like, I'd love for other companies to look at Universal and be like, why are you guys doing this? Doesn't it cost us? Like, yeah, but we're Universal. That's why we do this. And I feel like what you put into it, you will get out of it. And I feel like the fans will reward the company if they were to do such things. So anyways, continuing, right? That is like how the week structure would look when it comes to the show. I have all these other things and stuff, right? But again, how freaking neat would it be? Not only do you get these episodes for these live interviews and stuff like that, but then we have hosts and the creatives who actually go on set and show you guys behind the scenes stuff of the house. You guys know what Blood Day is? Anybody here in the chat knows what Blood Day is? Like, how cool would it be if we had an episode dedicated to what Blood Day is at HHN? It's when the team goes through the house. They have a whole team department that goes through it and bloodies up the sets. How neat would that be? If we had an episode where the host got to take you guys backstage with the creatives and talk about Blood Day and like be on the set, talk about it, and then show like, hey, here's like a 5-minute clip that we have for Blood Day, and it shows behind the scenes, the team getting ready, showing them how they apply the blood on the victims and the scenes, the tables, everything like that. Me personally, I would watch that 100%.
I think a lot of people would watch that, but I think the people who are watching that are people who are going to buy the tickets anyway.
No, of course. Again,
I'm not saying that it's right or correct or the way it should be.
I know.
I'm just saying
you're playing devil's advocate.
Answer.
You're saying this is what the company's going to, which is why if you go back to the very first sentence I said, it needs to be a cleansing. Be a cleanse.
It's going to be way higher up than
what we need to do is we need to like broadcast a live stream where we can like hypnotize all of them and say, hey, do more. But anyways, like all these different ideas leading up to the event, getting people excited, showing what the process is of like casting. What is it like casting hundreds of people for Halloween Horror Nights? You know, what is the process behind that? You know, scare actors, actual scare actor interviews and stuff. Like bring Erin Klein and stuff. I know she's done plenty, but the fans love seeing that kind of stuff. You know, like what is it like portraying certain characters? What is it like to, you know, to get in your role and get in makeup, costuming, mask, all that kind of stuff. You know, scenic and design, audio, name it. There's so many people that, you know, work on the event. The fans want to know. They want to see it. They love that stuff. Then you get to the actual event where they're at the event. What do? You actually, you know, cover the event. Like it's a live broadcast. We're covering what HHN is like. Here we are. We're at the party. You guys are missing out. You want to be at the party. Not only that, we can go ahead and partner with our friends in Hollywood. How awesome would it be if on the production stage, what is that stage that's called? Where Rip Red Rocket was.
I always forget what it's called.
Maybe you guys also, you got this poll up. Could you take it down? What was the poll?
17% good.
Oh, the question is, do you think Spec season has been good, bad, or it doesn't really matter?
17% said good. I love the current Spec. 60% said bad. Spec isn't fun anymore. And 23 said it doesn't really matter.
Yeah. So, I mean, 60%, at least of the votes that we got, you know, saying it's not fun anymore. You have 20% who, you know, doesn't care either way. And then 20% thinks it's good, you know? And again, that's great, you know? Like people got to have their own opinions. I think it's great. What should we call it? Production Central, right? What's the stage called? There's a name for the stage.
Yeah, there's a name for the stage. I can't think of it.
But anyways,
right now.
where the little like the turf grass is, where Rip Ride Rocket and stuff is, like how awesome would it be if one night they put
Music Plaza.
The Music Plaza stage? There you go.
Thanks, Shanna. Yeah.
Shanna, shout out to Shanna. Thank you. If they put like a live studio set for the host to be there to broadcast Halloween Horror Nights, to have, and we talked about even engaging the queue lines, like put up live interactive in the moment polls and stuff and talk about that, you know, get the live fans behind, you know, cheering like they do like on ESPN Game Day and things like that, where they're live, you know, in stage stream getting ready to open Halloween Horror Nights. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to swing over this live feed to our fans out in Hollywood. And you can see people in Hollywood getting ready. And then they have their host and crew out there to take the rest of the show from Orlando to Hollywood, since, you know, there's a 3-hour difference.
The Epic Universe opening.
Yes. I don't ever want to hear that again. But yeah, I mean, that's how it would be, you know? Like, make it this big grand event that it actually is. HHN has gotten to the point where it's so famous, it's so popular that you don't even need to tell us what's coming to the event. We're still going to buy tickets. People are still going to buy tickets. We probably would, you know? I'd hit myself in the head, but we would, you know? Treat it as such. You know, give it that treatment that it deserves, in my opinion. Now, you know, that's during the event. And then in the off season, once HHN closes, we get into November. We're back in the studio, recapping the event, looking at highlights, the best moments. And this is where I think, and what we've done in our live streams, this is where they should do the votes for House of the Year, for the fan favorite vote, right? What is the fan favorite vote for House of the Year, Scare Zone of the Year? We should host those in the show, like live, have people actually live, you know, texted information, whatever, to run the poll. And then we go ahead and announce what the House of the Year is. People would tune in to watch that. Why? You can't go to Horror Nights. It's over. You would tune into the show to keep that conversation going. What was the best highlights? What was the favorite scare of the year? What scene was that? Bringing all the creatives to talk about, hey, you had this event in your head for so long. I mean, a year in advance, you got to see it in development, and then you got to see it in action. You know, what was y'all's favorite moments? What did you guys think was going to do well? What did you think wasn't going to do as well as it did? Things like that, I feel like, would be so interesting. And that's November. And you take December off. January, we get back into it. And what I thought, too, is after 3 years, there's some I wrote after 3 years, and then Horror Unleashed came about. But you have Horror Unleashed that came about, which kind of treats it like this. But something you mentioned, and what I thought was great, what we talked about, was the Halloween Horror Nights bus tour, right? Where I know, great, right? But Halloween Horror Nights has a bus They put a wrap of it with, you know, HHN stuff, and they drive around the country to, you know, popular locations to do HHN pop-ups where they sell merch and things like that. Have that? I know it's wacky dacky, but it's early 2000s.
King said, "This is a lot to process and consume, Brian."
Good. I need you to consume it because I don't.
Me.
Listen, I don't know if we're gonna have another live stream, guys. I'm giving everything I can right now because this could be it. This might be our last live. I have no idea.
This is like our daily conversation. Him doing this and me going. Mm-hmm.
Well, she's usually like working on the computer, and then she'll look at me and be like, and it's like, what? But yeah, so like, and then 3 years after the show, depending on how it's doing and stuff, we'd have a Halloween Horror Nights world tour where we have the bus that would go from Orlando.
A world tour on a bus?
Well, hear me out. It goes from Orlando, it goes all the way up to like Atlanta, then it goes to New York, Chicago, all the way to Vegas, works its way. And I feel like fans that live out there, you know, would love to see those pop-ups and what the purpose of.
I thought the bus thing was to have a TV show to go to the biggest fans.
Yes, that's my point. Was as the bus is traveling, what we're doing is as we create episodes, because it's going to go with the show, the episodes would be who is the biggest Halloween Horror Nights fan out there, and we go out searching for the big fans of Halloween Horror Nights that obviously don't live locally to Orlando or Hollywood, and it travels to these big places that they can do pop-ups and stuff like that, photos, you know, merch, all that kind of stuff that they can do, and make their way all the way to Hollywood and finish the tour here in the nation. We also have our friends across the sea that they could even do things like that. You know, what is it like traveling to all the HHN locations in 1 year? There is so much content that goes to it that only a company like Universal could pull off. So anyways.
A lot of people.
Should I tell them?
A lot of people love it. Phanto Bromy said you lost me with the bus, but the rest is great.
Don't worry, you don't have to drive the bus. It's fine.
Amanda said she drove the bus.
License and registration, please. Should I even tell them about the party idea?
No, save that for another day.
There's an HHN party idea too, guys.
Anyway,
but I won't get into that. That's
the point
different.
is, Brian has a lot of big ideas that would be great for HHN, but
the point being is like I love the off season. I think the HHN off season is such a special thing in my opinion. I think it's so unique, and I'd love to see it continuously expand and get better year after year because I believe it can. And the ideas that I shared, I personally love. I'd like to know what you guys think. But not only that, because I thought of it, that means other people have thought of these things too. And it's like, I know there are a lot more people that also agree and think, you know, hey, this could be better. I've seen people message that. So I just want to see the company do better because I want the event to continuously prosper and keep going.
Sorry, we missed a super chat.
We did? Oh my goodness, we did. Danny Phantom. It's the first thing I think of when I hear Danny. But Danny with the 199, by the way, thank you. You guys don't need to do super chats, but we appreciate it. Hellraiser House happening or not? Big rumors. I don't know. Again, we have not been keeping up with spec season stuff for this year. Heard a lot of people talking about Hellraiser. I personally have not seen Hellraiser, but I think it would be very successful at the event, kind of like Terrifier was.
I would love it.
You would love it?
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of people would, and I think it would do very well. But again, the rumors are 4 for 4 right now. So
which that's always the thing is like, as long as we've been doing this, we get the question like, do you think this is coming this year? We're like, we have no idea. Yeah. Like we can look at things people are speculating, but like we don't have anybody inside telling us what everything is going to be for the year. So like we have no idea. And like we said before with leaks, like we probably wouldn't say anything even if we did.
Yeah. Also, Danny said, "Someone get that damn bus ready." Yes, and that just to me, like the bus idea seems so like 2000s. I'm like, yeah, like bring it back. You know, I want some old school stuff. You know.
Colton said he wants to hear about the party. We can tell you another time.
Who's Colton? Is it the dinosaur kid? Colton Rogers 2765. I want to hear about the party. That's weird. That's so creepy. No, the party's can I talk about the party? If not, I'll respect it. It's a lot. The party's you know what? Maybe not.
You just do a little quick summary.
Colton, how about you get Paige to just FaceTime us and I'll go over the party idea for you. You don't have to send a super chat for that. Yeah, I mean, the party would have been freaking sick, by the way, guys. It was this whole thing. This was back in like 2021. But yeah, so anyways, my point being is like all these ideas, I know they're like grand and it's like, okay. But like I look at a company like Universal and I'm like, I know they could do that. Like I know that team could pull it off. Those are like some of the best people when it comes to creative and development and stuff like that, and ideas and processing and stuff. And I know things have changed since COVID, but hey, no, not playing right here. No. Don't go that way. That cord. You can't go that way. You know that. He's crazy. I can't wait. After this, we're gonna fight them. It's gonna be fun. Hano's so fun to like roughhouse with and stuff. He's the sweetest dog. I love this guy so much. He's my buddy. You're my buddy, right? You're my buddy. I know. Daddy's past my bedtime. Yeah. So like again, those are things I feel like that would help the off season, and that comes directly with the company. And it's an idea that I would love to see happen because I think it drives conversation. I always love the idea of elongating excitement and hype for one thing, where it's like we can have an announcement on Tuesday and that conversation will go for maybe a few days and then that's it. Is anybody talking about Sinners right now? Coming to Horror Nights? Not as frequently.
Oh, I thought you were asking about the chat.
Oh, no. What I'm saying is like not as many people are talking about Sinners right now like they are, HR and Bloodengutz because it's more recent, right? But it's like, how do we elongate those conversations? And it's like, if we had something where the company had this set schedule, the conversation will stay fresh and it'll last longer because on Tuesday you have the announcement, or Monday you have the teaser, Tuesday you have the announcement. The content creators are going to get out there and make content. As a content creator, I'm thinking, man, Monday I'm making content because, hey, Horror Nights is about to post something tomorrow. What do you guys think it could be? That's when the spec conversations come in. What could this be? Spec maps, all that stuff. Tuesday, the next day, here's an announcement. As a content creator, it's like, holy smokes, I have to make content on this announcement. Wednesday is your off day, but the conversation continues. The community is going to keep driving that. Thursday is when Horror Nights releases more information. As far as like the Countdown to HHN show goes, that's when they would release that episode on Thursday. Holy smokes, guess what? Content creators in the community. Conversation has to keep going. Did you hear what he just said? They're going to have a falling piano and all that stuff. Like, that's going to be a whole conversation. That'll get you into Friday. The weekend, it'll start sizzling out.
Do you think people might get a little like fatigued on it by the time the event starts, though?
I don't think so, for the fact that every week the conversation's different. It's different. It's new. There's things that we've never seen before that we're going to get to see.
But like, you have people who won't even watch like opening weekend videos because they want things to be a surprise. Like if they're going through like and doing announcements, like talking about like certain things inside the house, what you can look forward to, like I guarantee a lot of people will be like, I don't want to watch that.
Potentially. But I feel like it's one of those things you can't guarantee that. Whereas like I can guarantee that there's people that would be excited to see those things.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying the show should give away as far as anything like here's a full like teaser thing that's going to spoil things. But as far as like, inspiration, maybe concept and design, like we saw with Pumpkin Lord, like just the drawing, the artistic views and stuff like that. And it's not only like the Countdown to HHN season wouldn't just focus on the upcoming HHN, but we have 35 years of HHN history that we could look back on, that we can bring from the HHN vault, the HHN crypt, bring it back alive and discuss. Let's talk about Halloween Horror Nights 2020 or 21 from 2011. Let's talk about HN or HR Bloodengutz Presents Holidays of Horror. Let's talk about that house. Let's bring in some old props. Let's discuss that. That could be an episode in itself. Let's talk about Gothic. Let's talk about Jack. I know there's a lot of information about Jack, especially how he came about in 2000. Let's create an episode about that. Let's refresh that. Let's revisit Halloween Horror Nights Art of the Scare. Let's bring that back. What was that like making that stuff? Will we ever get something like that again? What about the website? Let's talk about the website. Let's bring the website back. I know it's a lot. I'll do it for free. I don't freaking care. I don't care about the money. I think it'd be freaking fun. That's what it's about. Because at the end of the day, what I want is for every fan, when they leave the gates of Halloween Horror Nights, for them to say, that was the coolest thing I've ever done in my life. That was the most fun I've ever had. I want every single person to say that. because I want people to be fans of the event. I want to see the longevity of Halloween Horror Nights, not just in my time, but after my time. For my kids, when I'm like too old and I can't do it anymore and I can't keep up and I'm long gone, I'd like to know like there are future generations who are going to continue this legacy that was started before I was even born. I mean, HHN's been around since the early 90s, 91. I was born in 97, so Horror Nights has been going around before I was even here. You had a legacy that was built by generations before, that is continued by generations now, that would be given to generations later. And I just want to see that constantly succeed every single time. So my thought is we could do the best we can, and when we do that, we need to look at how can we be even better than that. That's just how I am. I don't know if you guys can hear the music. I love this song. It's our intro song. Anyways, what do you guys think? Am I freaking crazy or what? Am I cuckoo? I lost my mind. So, hey, so don't ever change, man. I don't know. My gut's getting a little bigger. I've been changing in that region a bit. But, I realize I haven't read anything.
And then this is how the end of these conversations always go, where I'm like, yeah, maybe someday.
Yeah, see, Mr. Disney King said, I will say the HHN creative is working year-round behind the scenes for the event to unfold every spooky season. I just don't think they want to contribute time to this on top of what they are creating. No, I agree, which is why, like, this would need to be its own department. This would be its own team, which is why I was like, the one thing I would love to do is, like, I don't want to be an HHN creative for the event. I want to solely just focus on the off-season. That's, like, something I would like to do. Now, I'm not saying, like, Universal, please. No, because, like, I want the best of the best, and I don't think I'm the best person to do the job. I'd like to just see a team that is dedicated just to that. There's got to be a team out there that can uplift this team here who's making the event and highlight those things. Because me personally, like, when I got to meet the creatives, when I did Discover Universal, I looked at them as, like, those were my celebrities. I don't have celebrities in movies. I don't really have celebrity crushes or celebrities I'm like a fan of. I don't really have that. When it comes to the HHN creatives, on the other hand, I get like a celebrity crush on them. I see Charles Gray and I'm geeking out. I think Charles Gray is an awesome person. I see Mike Aiello and it's like, I get butterflies in my stomach. I'm like, these people are freaking cool, So it's like, I'd love for how awesome these people are to have like this platform that highlights just like the amount of work they do and how awesome they are. So anyways, oh my gosh.
The dogs are attacking me. Yeah, it is. It would be a separate team, but they would have to pull from creative. They would have to say like, hey, we need to schedule you this day to come do this video.
There is, and we've done that before, and we fit in the schedule. On top of that, though, it's, we look at, I think there was I had written up 24 episodes leading up to the event. The 24 episodes, not every episode we're bringing a creative in. Not every single episode will have a creative in. Some will be other things that we do. But you have people that we bring, not only just the creatives, the Horror Nights, the stories, and, that they write and stuff, but we have art, scenic and design and, audio and even maybe like past people who've worked on certain things. No, honey, you can't go that way. Come here, the cord is over there, buddy. You gotta come over here. So like I looked at it, it's like out of the 20, like, here, go. Okay, you got to go there. Your tail's in the cord. You're too big, dude. You're just such a big guy. You're so awesome. Full of awesomeness. But out of the 24 episodes, it was like 10 of them had an actual on-set guest that we would really have and bring in. And if, by the grace of God, if it got popular, then you would look at not just bringing the creatives in, but maybe we can bring in some of the IPs. How cool would it be if Scream came to Halloween Horror Nights? Again, we're shooting for the moon here, right? If Scream came to Halloween Horror Nights and we were able to bring Matthew Lillard into the studio to talk what it's like playing Ghostface in the originals and all that stuff. Universal posting that would be huge, numbers wise. That'd be huge, And the fact that like Universal again, and okay, buddy, you gotta go. Go lay down. Go lay down. I'm sorry. Your tail's too much, buddy. I'm sorry. I'll give you 2 treats. Yeah. He turned around and said, what? If you lay down for the rest of the live until we call you over, I'll give you 2 tweets. He said, you better. So, I mean, I also look at it as the fact of like when Horror Nights does these panels, right? Like MegaCon, Spooky Empire. It's like, I personally, again, I could be the only person on this island, but how cool would it be if Soundstage 33 at Universal, they hosted a panel there where people could pay Universal directly for tickets to go to the panel to see a house announcement and see that in person. They do like one of that every year, and it's like the main runner or the like the event house or whatever, the anniversary house, icon, whatever. And they do that directly just Universal, and they broadcast it and they sell tickets for fans to go in. I personally would pay money for that. Why? Because I've paid money for Spooky Empire to do that. Maybe it's not the best thing, but I feel like Universal doesn't need the help of other things to make HHN popular. I think HHN's already popular enough that they could run things themselves. Of course, it costs money. Another concept we had too was if the show got popular, like, could we actually have a live audience on set and do that? So we had wacky ideas and stuff that we were talking about. But again, it's one of those things where it's like, when you're discussing these ideas, we shoot for the highest you can, blue sky concept, all these things, and then we bring it down to where it's like, okay, where budget is and what we can do, and meet somewhere in the middle where it's like a good combination for both. That's how we were doing it. So also Derek Morris, by the way, jumping in with the 199. Thank you, by the way, saying Fortnite banana. I know nothing of this Fortnite. I don't know how I feel. I've heard people talking about it, that it's rumored and stuff. I have no idea about Fortnite. I don't even know how I feel. Again, my thoughts are the creative team can make anything work at Horror Nights. I truly believe that. This one's going to be a challenge, in my opinion. But Derek, I appreciate it, man. Thank you for the 199. Anyways. Okay, Mr. Disney King said, would you agree the HHN podcast didn't work? I mean, is it even coming back this year? That's a whole conversation. If you guys remember, at the very beginning of this year, the first live stream that we did, we briefly talked about that stuff. We may have a live stream potentially in August. I don't know. We have to get the dates and stuff for it. We may have a live stream in August potentially where we bring some people who might have worked on the podcast to be here with us live in the studio to discuss. We'll call it a tell-all episode. We may have that to give you guys more details on all the events that happened there. But yeah, would I agree if the HHN podcast didn't work? I would agree that it did work and that they didn't even get to do it. Again, from what I was told, what was being created, supposedly there was a contract and all this kind of stuff. But what I was told was that there is an HHN podcast and that, you know, we were going to be hosting it and doing that. We were excited, and we still have not seen or heard anything of it. It's been 2 years. Well, yeah, it's been 2 years technically since conversations and development. So I can't tell you if the HHN podcast didn't work because it hasn't happened yet. But anyways. Chris in the chat said, did he finally fire her? And I think it's because he showed up.
No, I quit. Just kidding.
You can't quit.
You can fire me. I quit.
That's Nico.
Just kidding.
Not really. We're thinking about it. I don't know. When we have this, I'll be honest. The reason why, like, I wanted to just say all these ideas and stuff. And again, I gave you guys, what, maybe 20 pages out of the 400 pages I have. I have a book somewhere that's got just all these things. And Nico, where you going?
I need to take him out.
Oh, buddy, are you trying to leave us a gift, a surprise? He's like, I quit. I'll show you. But again, it was it's just a few ideas and stuff, and I used to hold back on these ideas and stuff because I was selfish, and I was like, oh, like, what if I, you know, could say these ideas and all that stuff just to like Universal, maybe this and that will happen. And I realized I was so selfish, and it's like, again, having this platform the reason why we have it, so we can talk about these things and have fun, talk about ideas, and see what you guys think. And the bother Steph, you know, most of the time. But you know, I'm like, I don't want to hold back on these things because I genuinely am like, we may not have another live stream. We may not do another video. The way our lives are, like, we're so busy. We have all these other things going on. And now that we're expecting this little gift that we're getting later this year, which I'm so stoked to be a dad. It's the most exciting and thrilling thing I have in my life right now. Steph and I were so excited to be parents, but I can't promise that we're going to keep making content because my time and focus is going to go to our child. So I don't know what the future's like. So me and Steph talked about, you know, hey, let's, you know, continue trying to do content stuff and doing as much as we can, but just to enjoy it and put all of our ideas out there. Say everything that we've been holding back and writing and ideas and all this stuff's happened, just put it out there so we can look back at it and say, like, you know, we did what we wanted to. And when I say this is it and this is time and stuff, at least I can look back at it and feel fulfilled. Like I, you know, got all that stuff out there because, you know, the whole thing with Universal, when they just like stopped us from making content with no explanation and stuff, and they just carried that on for a year. It's like, I was so bummed. I was really hurt because I'm like, man, I want to keep talking with my community and stuff and, you know, talk with the fans about Horror Nights. And I felt like I wasn't allowed to, and they gave me no real reason. And then, you know, whatever happened. We'll get into that in another day potentially. But it sucked. And I felt like I wasn't in control of my life. And now I'm like, you know what? I'm taking control of my life. Like I want to say what I want to say. I want to have fun. I want to have fun. I want to enjoy it. So anyways, yeah, rapid fire happening. Yeah, I probably should. I think Stephanie would be so thrilled if she shows up and I'm like, oh, we're finishing. She'd be like, oh, thank God. She's awesome, by the way. I hope you guys know, like, when we say things like that and stuff, like, I truly do love her. She's awesome. Like, all the props to her. She works harder than any of you guys can imagine. And now she's carrying a little baby, too. That's so cool. Isn't that crazy? Like, we can do that as humans. Like, we can have babies. That's awesome. All right, let's do a little rapid fire Q&A. I'm gonna put it up on the screen. We'll do rapid fire. If you guys have questions, go ahead and drop them in the chat. And it might just be me, unless Steph gets back in time. We'll answer some questions and stuff like that. And I think we'll close the live stream. Now, I notice it's 2 hours. We're already at 10:30. Steph and I got to get to Love Island, guys. We got to get to it. We got some. We can do like our own Love Island live stream and talk about it because I have a lot to say about that too. However, it's getting late and I need to wrap this up. But if you guys are just joining us, we talked about HR Bloodengutz coming to the event. Really excited for that house. Really excited. The announcement just didn't really hit it for me. There's like no build up, no excitement. Like what happened to like that teaser date that we got when they announced, what was it, Sinners or Jack and Oddfellow or whatever? Or was it Sinners? I think it was Sinners or whatever. When they said May 21st, which was Sinners. Like what happened to that? You know, there's no more build up. There's no cohesion. They've had this for a few years where it's been like this. And it bums me out. Not gonna lie, I get a little bummed. But we talk about HR Bloodengutz. Really excited for that house. I genuinely think that's gonna be my #1 house that I'm looking forward to this year. And then we got into a little bit of a conversation of spec season, the off season, some of the issues that we see, and some of the solutions. What we hope, and of course, it stems directly to the company, but even to us as a community. You know, like how could we make it better, or does it even need to be better? Is it already the best? And I'm just crazy. All right, so rapid fire, here we go. I'm going to ask or answer some of these questions. Who dis said HHN movie 2029? Okay, so I technically did not sign an NDA on this. However, the conversation of a Halloween Horror Nights movie is like, it's like real. That has happened. I'll say that. Let's see. How old before your child attends their first HHN? Now I'm not the biggest fan of Steph going to HHN pregnant this year. However, she's fighting me on it. If that's the case, like a couple weeks old. Other than that, we're probably going to wait. Again, I always believe, like, you know, what is the right age to take your kid to HHN. I think that's depending on the parents. You know, every kid's different. Everybody grows up different. Steph grew up, you know, loving horror and stuff like that and being involved in it. I was terrified of it, you know, until I started going to horror nights and I became a fan. So it depends. You know, I think we're going to monitor, you know, our child and how our child is with certain things. And we'll stick to the recommended guiding of Universal, and we'll say 13 years of age. But maybe they can go when they're 11 or 12 or 13, or maybe it takes them until they're 20. If they're like their father, they might go later in their life. If they're like their mother, they may go a little earlier. So we're doing rapid fire, by the way, to finish off tonight. How you feeling?
Good. He's just
a butt.
Yeah, a little pain.
You're a butthead. Come here, you little butthead. Why are you a butthead? Or what's the comment? Butt liquor. Our price has never been lower. This guy. He's so cute. All right. We're doing... Actually, I'll ask some questions and then you can answer. Oh, my gosh.
Okay.
Did you see him just run in here?
Just run up here, yeah.
He's crazy. He's like, where's the 2 tweets? Okay, let's see. Why did Universal stop you from making videos? I mean, technically, you could answer that. We'll say this because I'll say this.
They weren't sure.
No, period. They weren't sure.
They weren't sure if it was okay or not. So they said, just to be on the safe side, like, just pause for now. Yeah. But then that pause never got unpaused.
But I just don't think nobody really stayed on top of it. I'll say that. The communication wasn't really there internally. We kept asking. I kept getting told different things. So what we did is we said, like, you know what? We will pause just to make sure everything stays safe, because I don't want anybody to get in trouble. I want things to go well. I want this to succeed for the company and for the fans. And never really got word. And then out of nowhere, they're like, oh, yeah, don't stop. Because we were actually going to, like, completely stop with the channel and stuff when they told us, hey, you're doing the Halloween Horror Nights podcast and stuff. And out of nowhere, they're like, no, don't stop. Don't quit your channel. You can do it. And here we are. It's weird.
It just kept being a thing where it was like, I don't know, like, we'll ask again, and then no update.
Yeah. I don't know. Somebody said, what is Love Island?
It's just a silly reality TV show.
Not a bad explanation. Good job.
Yeah.
Let's see. What do you prefer, music IP or music original concept? Music IP. Just because it would be cool to see, like, Billy Idol, like
we know the music.
Yeah. I mean, it depends. Like, original could be cool, but again, depending. Like, I thought the Weekend House was kind of dumb as an idea, and then, like,
the execution was good.
It was really cool.
Yeah.
Like, I enjoyed it. So music IP, just because I don't know what original we're talking about, but that's a good question. Meeting with Netflix or Universal soon. Production soon for a movie or show. Trilogy or 5 seasons. Anthology written by Brent and producer, executive producer, co-director. Yeah, I don't know who this. I don't know. Good questions. Good questions. Let's see, Mr. Disney King. Do you care about HHN lighting updates, where they are at and how they are positioned? Again, here's the thing. It excites me. But I think it's because the community hungers for information. And when the company's not filling that, I think the community has to stretch far and wide to find things that excites the people, because they're the only ones that are fueling the monster. If not, the company were to get involved, we wouldn't need just those things. I think we'd be fine with other stuff. Anyways, I like to see the lights. All right, let's see. Lady Gaga house was rumored a while ago. I would love it. Thoughts?
I think they're better artists.
Yeah, I'm not really a fan of Lady Gaga. But again, I know a lot of people love Lady Gaga, so, like, it could work.
Okay, here's a good one.
What you got?
Phantom Bromy said, how do you feel about the show changing from Nightmare Fuel? Will it be back? Do we have 100% confirmation that there will be no Nightmare Fuel? Yes, the Fuel Girls will not be part of it. But that doesn't mean that we can't get Nightmare Fuel.
Yeah. Steph made a good point the other day where she's like, just because the Fuel Girls aren't going to be there.
They're not the entire show. And they don't create the show.
Yeah. Granted, they are a key part, but other people could play with fire too. just saying.
I don't know. I'm just saying,
but
am I missing something? Because everybody's saying, like, oh, no Nightmare Fuel.
I don't know. again, nothing is official nor confirmed until Universal has made it clear. So I don't know, but that's a good question though. I'm interested to see if they will do a Nightmare Fuel-esque show or if they go another route. I personally think with the big anniversary year that we have, and the last time we had a big anniversary year featuring Jack, and I'm not talking about 30, we had Jack in his own show in 25. I feel like maybe that's what we might get. Maybe a Jack and Oddfellows show, the Nightmare Carnival. So potentially. Let's see. What did you guys think about Obsession? I liked it. I liked Obsession.
It was good.
I really did.
Not make a good house, but it's a good movie.
I'm going to say this. I feel like this conversation is perfect for like spec season. It's like, oh, what did you think about this movie? Do you think it'd be a great house? Some people say they think it'd be really cool to see at the event.
Curry?
Yeah.
The director did say like
he talked about it in Horror Nights and stuff. However, though, just talking
it'd
like,
be cool to have an Obsession booth.
Yeah,
whatever
booth.
That means.
Whatever booth is. But it's like, could Obsession work as a house? I don't see it personally. Some people say like, oh, this would be a great house. I don't think it would be. But again, I have full faith in the creatives to pull off anything.
Okay, Mr. Disney King again said One Wish Willow would make an amazing house, but it would feature Obsession. And
I like that.
I did hear that they're planning to make more movies that are going to be like
in that universe.
Yeah.
I heard that. Yeah.
And I think it would be cool if I can't remember if where I heard this said that like this is how they're planning it, or if the conversation was just it would be cool if it was this way. But if like it's based on like all the movies are based on a One Wish Willow, but then it's like a whole different story. So it's not all just Obsession. It could be a different wish.
Yeah.
And that would
focusing on some completely
that would make a good house.
I think that'd be really cool. And the fact that it does center, because if you guys remember in the film, if you haven't, this is a spoiler, but you remember in the film when he contacts the number that's on the One Wish Willow box, and then there was that whole thing of like, what is that? I feel like there's some stuff they can really dive into there with their imagination and make into a house that we just didn't see in the film. That could maybe be in other films.
It's just like an anthology house where it's like wishes gone wrong, basically.
That's the name of the house. Halloween Horror Nights, Wishes Gone Wrong.
You know what I mean.
Here's the Brian from Orlando room. Yeah. Right. What are you guys budgeting for HHN this year, including tickets? We don't even know if we're going this year. Believe it or not. We have a baby on the way. We have no idea. However, everything we got in the wallet, it's probably how much it'll cost. Let's see. Does HHN ever really make foods inspired by original houses? Yeah. They do. I mean, they have food booths that like...
It's mostly
like,
IPs.
Like they have like the Triplets of Terror like food booth. They have like food themed around that. So they have like original ones.
Tooth Fairy had a booth.
Tooth Fairy, yeah. They do for originals. It's not as like prominent as the other one. Slaughter Cinema had its own thing. It's not as prominent as the IPs. Let's see. I can't even. My eyes are so.
We can't answer the one about Stranger Things 5 because we have not watched the season yet.
Yeah, we haven't seen. We will see it soon.
So we'll get back to you on that.
All right, last question for the night. We'll do this one. Will Blumhouse become the next Walking Dead at HHN?
I don't necessarily think so. Only because it's different. Like every movie is different.
Yeah.
Whereas like I
Walking
think
House is a property.
Yeah, I think Walking Dead got a little tired because it's like the same. It's just property. Zombies. Like
Whereas like Blumhouse has all these different types of themes and stuff that they can go off of. I'm not the biggest fan of Blumhouse, but
Obsession was Blumhouse.
I was gonna say, but they have some good stuff.
They're capable.
Yeah. I will say what would be really nice is to get like a Nosferatu house. Like that would be really cool. But also later this year in December, we're getting Werewolf. And it's
Robin Hood maybe looks good too.
Oh yeah. But Werewolf is the same director that did Nosferatu, and I think like that has potential. They released a still from the movie recently. And Robert Eggers. And the still looks awesome. Like that could be a great house too. So there's obviously, when it comes to the conversation of what could come to HHN, there's so many different properties that are coming out that could be relatively new for the event, be great. You also have so many other properties that are from years past that, you know, HHN still hasn't, you know, worked with. That could be really good. I still, every year I see people talk about 13 Ghosts would be great. And I'm like, yeah, you know, like there's so many different things that HHN can do, which is why I'm like, this event could last forever. I just want to see them just do more with the off season. Not because they haven't, but because they used to. That's why. That's my statement. All right. I think that's going to be it for rapid fire Q&A. I realize we're over 2 hours long. Shout out to you for going this long. Proud of you. How you feeling? Ready to go watch Love Island?
Oh, we're gonna have to save Love Island for tomorrow.
I think it's a good idea because there's no episode tomorrow, so we'll watch Love Island tomorrow. Yeah. Also, go Team USA in the World Cup all the way, baby. We're looking good. So anyways, with that being said, everybody, that's going to do it for us in tonight's live. First of all, I want to thank you guys for joining us in today's live. Yeah, Hundo. Woo!
That's my cue.
Yay, Nico. We did it. Yeah, I know. That was a deep breath. He's like, finally. But we want to thank you guys for joining us in tonight's live. Again, we had some tricky conversations to have, but I felt like they're needed to have. May have a live stream in August at some point. I still got to finalize some things where we may do a tell-all story and bring some of the former people that have worked alongside me at Discovery Universal to discuss some things, give you guys some more information on what happens so you guys know the story and all that stuff. So we may chat about that. Keep an eye out for details on that. But hey, really excited. HR Bloodengutz is coming to HHN. I think it's going to be a great house. Really excited for that. I think a lot of people are going to love it. It's going to be a lot of fun. And yeah, I don't even remember what else we talked about. I'm sure Disney was mentioned somewhere at some point.
Probably.
Right. It's a long conversation, but I appreciate you guys. Thanks for holding out. For all of you guys that are still here, I know I can talk a lot, and I do, and all my ideas up there and stuff. But again, the reason why is because I just have the passion for the event. I love it so much, just as anybody else in this community, and I just want to see it continuously thrive year after year. That's it. So with that being said, thank you so much, y'all. Until the next live stream or video, which I think, by the way, we may do a live stream next Tuesday, potentially. So keep an eye out. We'll post updates either on Instagram. Well, we will post updates on Instagram, YouTube, and potentially Discord. So keep an eye out for that. Until then, my heart burns saying good night, folks.
You do your outro?
I guess. That was my outro, but it wasn't the typical.
Okay.
Until the next video, we look forward to seeing you guys there. And that's why we don't walk over the cord.
You almost busted it.
Good night, guys.
Good night.
Peace out.